Gareth, closing in on 200 games, that's some milestone. Did you ever think you'd reach that?
No, probably not. When I was driving down, when I first came down, I was in the car for about 7.5 hours on a Friday afternoon, I think it was. So if someone would have said to me, you're going to go on and play 200 games for the club, then I probably would have laughed in the face. But yeah, it's a proud achievement, and like I say, I'm very proud of it.
Last one to do it was Matty Saylor, by the way, which was some time ago. So, you know, you're in a bit of a select group here.
Yeah, he's a bit of a Portsmouth legend, I need to say the least. So just to be said in the same breath as a player like that is quite an honour. So yeah, it's something that I'm really pleased with. It's when it does, I think I'm on 198 now or something, aren't I? So hopefully it'll be in the next couple of weeks, and it's something that I can tick off. But it's a really big milestone in my Portsmouth career, and one I'm proud of.
Has it gone quickly for you?
It's gone quick, yeah, remarkably quick really. Just looking back at, like I say, when I first came down under the circumstances and everything that's gone on in that sort of coming up to 4.5 years now, it's amazing to look back and think that it's 4.5 years really. It's gone so quickly, but when you enjoy something, time flies, and that happens to have been the case.
It's double the time, double the games that you performed at other clubs.
Yeah, I've always sort of signed a 2-year contract at a club, and circumstances led to me sort of carrying out that 2-year contract and coming to the end of it and moving on for whatever reason. But there hasn't been a reason for me to want to leave Portsmouth. I've had opportunities, I'm not going to lie, I have had opportunities to move on to other places and possibly earn more money, but I didn't ever want to leave Portsmouth. So if a contract's been put in front of me, which it has been three times now, I've always signed it as soon as it's been put in front of me, pretty much.
And if you've been offered 3 contracts, then you're not doing a lot wrong, are you?
No, I think you can probably be judged on that. I think it's difficult in this day and age in the Football League to be offered a contract at a professional club, and to be offered 3 at a prestigious club and fantastic club like Portsmouth is, like you say, telling you that you're doing something right, and I like to think that I've done that.
Have you got a favourite moment? Is there a favourite goal, a favourite moment, a favourite game?
I won't say there's a single moment that sticks out, but there's probably 3 or 4 instances where I look back and think that was brilliant. Obviously the penalty at Notts County, penalty to get promoted, my debut goal, setting up the goal at Wembley. There's been probably more than 3 or 4, to be honest, but the one that probably sticks out is the final day of the season because of all the drama that came with it, and I'm sure that all the fans can relate to that.
Not always been plain sailing, but I guess that's the territory you're in as a football player.
No, yeah, it is up and down. There's ups and downs in football. You're not just going to sign for a club and every day is going to be brilliant. And there's different reasons for that. I can't sit here and say, you know, I've played 200 games and every one of them have been brilliant. I've had some terrible games. I've had some really bad performances. That's football. But I like to think that when I do eventually hang my boots up, whether that's with Portsmouth or my career as a whole, that I can sit here and say that I've given everything, and whether I've played poorly or not, I've never really lacked effort. And I think if you keep putting the amount of work in that I have done, you're going to reap your rewards, and I think I've done that. But like I say, I've had some terrible games in that 200, but you've just got to keep going. You are going to have bad games at the end of the day, and you've just got to keep going, knowing that it's going to turn, and you're going to have good days as well.
You've achieved a kind of a cult status, and obviously from the moment on Southsea Common. But that said, unless you were performing on the pitch, you wouldn't have that sort of status.
I like to think so, yeah. I've brought more to the club than just singing on a stage. I like to think that, but I think, yeah, like you say, I think if you just sing a song on a stage and don't really do anything else, then you're not really cementing yourself in Portsmouth folklore, really. And I think you have to back it up with performances, goals, assists, and doing everything for the badge. Hopefully I've done that.
Probably didn't endear you to Southampton fans the other night either.
No, I don't really know how much they know about it, to be honest, but yeah, I couldn't really care less.
Was it a planned moment, or was it just instinctive?
I can't remember. No, we were all sort of stood behind the stage on the day, and everyone was sort of going up and getting the round of applause, and I just thought, liven the party up a little bit and get on the mic, and I think I did that.
It was all good-natured and good humoured, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it wasn't. It was just getting the crowd going a little bit, I suppose. But there was some meaning to it, like everyone probably already knows.
Did you realise it would stick with you for the rest of your time?
No, I didn't know. I just thought, oh, just be a bit of fun and get the lads going and cheer the fans up a bit, and that would be it. But it just so happens that a song's been made of it, and it's gone from there, really.
Now you are, like it or not, you're an elder statesman of this football club. I think it's only you and Christian Burgess that was originally in take under Paul Cook. Yeah. Does that give you licence to get up on your podium and say things when perhaps things aren't going right, or to point out errors or anything like that?
A little bit, yeah. I think you've got to be a certain type of personality to stand up and shout your head off, and I wouldn't put myself in the mould of a Roy Keane type player that's just going to F and blind and sort of go about people in the wrong way. I'm more a kind of person that tries to lead by example on the pitch, whether that's doing that extra little bit of running or doing the extra bit at the training ground or whatever that may be. And I tend to sort of try and lead by example in that way as an elder statesman. And I think Burge is pretty much the same. He's perhaps a little bit more vocal, but that's not to say if someone needs something saying to him, then I'm more than happy to do it.
Last 3 games, it's all turned around a bit. Were you surprised at the start and the reaction to that start?
No, it's Portsmouth. So, if especially the way that last season went and how well we did by and large, the standards were set, and ultimately, so far this season, we've probably fell a little bit below those. So. With a club like Portsmouth, you have high standards anyway, but they were probably set as high as they are by how well we did, particularly in the first half of last season. So if you fall below those, then you're going to come under scrutiny, and rightly so. We're not happy with the start that we've had, but that's not to say that we haven't turned a corner now, and hopefully we have, and things are going to change.
Because you've had 4 years here, and you've had relatively high moments, relatively low moments, I should say, but the high ones have been far more predominant.
Yeah, well, yeah. When I look back on, like you say, the 200 games that I've had, there's been far more positives than negatives. So there has been down points, but you just, like I've said so many times, you just have to keep going and know that it's not going to continue, and things are going to change, and you're going to turn a corner and get back into the groove of winning games and getting points and working your way up the table, and you like to think that that's going to happen.
Good thing about it is it's still very early days.
Yeah, it is. There's a lot of the season to go, but that's not to say that we shouldn't be disappointed with the way that we've gone about the season so far, and the points that we've tallied perhaps isn't as high as we want.
A bit gone for you off the field. So you married while you've been down here. First child on the way. Does that give you some perspective outside football? Yeah,
I think so. It's easy for people to sit there and just say, oh, Gareth's played 200 games for the club, but there's been so much more to my time at Portsmouth than just playing football. My personal life has taken a huge step. Like you say, I got married down here. We've got a baby on the way. I got engaged after the first season of being here. So there's been a lot going on in my personal life as well, and we've bought into the club as much as we could as a couple, and what's going to inevitably be a family. So I think that's been important in making me perform so consistently on the pitch, is that my personal life has been so settled, and I've been so happy off the pitch that there's no reason to be unhappy when I come into the building, and that's perhaps reflected in my training and in my performances as well.
Yeah, you can go home and you can switch off from football, can you?
Yeah, I am that kind of person, to be fair. I don't sort of sit there thinking about football for the rest of the day, unless something's going on that's bugging me. I won't sort of lose any sleep over it. I've got such a happy, settled life at home, and I'm so happy in my personal life that it doesn't, football doesn't completely dominate everything. Although obviously when things are going well, then life's a whole lot better.
Yeah, and you have been seen around the training ground dabbling in the dark side of journalism as well. What's all that about?
I started it with the PFA. It was a PFA degree. I was sort of got to, I was 29 years of age, and I was just going home every afternoon, and yeah, like I said before, I was happy with my home life and whatever, but I'd probably sit there and watch Netflix and not really do anything constructive with my free time, really. And I just thought, you never know what's going to happen in football. I could get a bad injury and my football career's all of a sudden come to an end, and I haven't got anything to fall back on. And the PFA came in and put it to me that there was these courses that they do that's distance learning, and put something in place for when you do eventually hang your boots up. And it just made sense for me to do. I've always had an interest in journalism anyway, so I've come to the end of that degree and passed it. So yeah, it's another string to my bow, I suppose you could say.
Because you're following in the footsteps of Danny Rose and people like that.
Yeah, he recommended it as well. Yeah, just as I was starting it, he was going into his second year, so he was someone that I spoke to about it. There was a couple of other lads that I've played with at other clubs that had done it. So it was, yeah, it came recommended to me, and like I say, it was just something to put into place for when I do eventually hang my boots. That's not to say I'm going to be a journalist, but you know, as everyone knows, if you go to a prospective employer with a degree, you look like a better option than someone that doesn't. So it was a bit of a no-brainer for me.
You brought up free time for players, and Joe Public will say, God, you know, players get it so easy, a lot of free time. But can that become a problem as well?
Yeah, sometimes, yeah. You can probably, I think for certain personalities it can be a problem. Like I say, when I go home, I find it quite easy to switch off from football and don't really let things bother me too much. But if you're an overthinker and quite an anxious person, I suppose that all that free time can sort of eat you up and work away, and you can see, I think it's World Mental Health Day today, to be fair, so you can see the issues that will probably be raised over the next 24 hours, that, you know, it's becoming more apparent in football, these problems now, and like you say, the free time that players have possibly contributes to that.
You're 31. How long do you envisage yourself playing?
Another 10 years? No, I'm only joking now. No, I don't know.
It's possible.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I feel as fit as I ever have, and yeah, I'm fit as a fiddle without wanting to blow my own trumpet, and I don't struggle with injuries, touch wood. I'm the fittest at the club, so it's not like there's alarm bells yet saying that you need to start winding down or you need to start doing a little bit less here and there. I feel as fit as I ever have, so I'll just keep going until my body tells me to stop. Yeah,
do you feel then you'll know that moment rather than go on?
I think it happens differently with certain players. I think certain players pick up injuries and it becomes a bit of a like persistent hamstring injuries, or it's taking you 3 or 4 days to recover from games, and those sort of things are sort of not alarm bells, but indicators that, you know, you get into that sort of time and you should start thinking about it. But I feel as fit as I did when I was 21, so I don't feel that I have to start thinking about when I'm going to hang my boots up.
Okay, mate, well, you're in your prime, so you really shouldn't be thinking about it, and we wish you a lot of more years.
Cheers, John. Thanks very much, mate.